All right, for my next demo, I want to show you what it's like to build an application from scratch. So I'm going to jump into a space that already has a database defined, but no screen defined just yet. So let's look at the database here. We have customers. We also have a table called payments. And let's build a customer payments interface. So I'll start with widgets. And I'm going to drag over here a panel. We'll call it customer payments. Let's go ahead and center this horizontally. And let's start by asking the user to enter a customer number. So label, enter customer number. We'll go to database, and I'm going to select node input and drag over the customer number. And then let's add a button that says show orders. Let's set some properties on this button, maybe an icon, something like this. And one more thing I'll add to the button is a response property. This simply defines a field or a variable that is sent to my application code, and I'll just call it show orders. All right. Now, I mentioned that any of the components or some of these components have the ability to connect to a database. So let's look at that. I'm going to click on the customer number field, and I'm going to go to the data section in the properties, and I'm going to select customers as the table. And for auto completing, so as the user types, we're going to auto complete some values, and we're going to select what we're going to show the user as he types. So let's show the customer number, let's show the customer name, maybe even the customer first name. So let's click OK here. And let's go ahead and save this. And I'm going to launch the application. And as I type, you'll see that I'm getting information about the customers that match my criteria. All right, so let's go back to the design and add some more functionality. So we now have a very easy way to select a customer, and let's go ahead and add a grid so we can show payments for that customer. So here we have a grid, and expand this a little bit. And so we'll show, let's say, check number, amount, and purchase type. And I'll expand this a little bit like this. And again, I'm going to go back to the properties for this grid, and I'm going to tell it where the data is coming from. So in this case, the data is coming from the payments table. And the fields that I want to show are going to be check number, amount, and type. And click OK. I'm not going to update the column headings since I've already got them typed in. Now at this point, this will show me all the payments, but I really just want to see the payments for a specific customer. So that requires me to put in a selection criteria. And the selection criteria is as simple as customer number equals, and then a question mark for a placeholder, which will bind to a parameter value to our existing field on the screen called customer number. So click OK here. Let's go ahead and save this. Oh, one more thing is I do have to give this grid a name. Let's call it payments. Now I can save, and let's go ahead and launch. And I'm going to type in customer and show the orders for show the payments for that customer. So it's just that easy to kind of start building on functionality here. Let's add now something visual to the application. I'm going to add a chart. So expand this a little bit, go to my widgets, find the charts section, and let's do a 2D column chart. And I really want to see how this breaks down by purchase type. Again, let's go to data. And this chart is going to pull in information from payments. The name field is going to be type. That's what we're summarizing things by. The value field is going to be And there's different ways that I can show this information. Let's say I can show the average amount, or I can show the maximum amount, but in this case, we're just looking for the sum. And again, I don't want to see all the payments. I want it to be just for the current customer. So customer number equals question mark, and then the parameter value of customer number right here will make that happen. So let's go ahead and click save, launch, go through that process again, show orders. And so now I can see not just the, sorry, I keep saying orders, but really this should be payments. Let me go ahead and change this button. I keep confusing myself with payments versus orders. Simple change. All right, so show payments. So now I can see both the data and then a visual depiction of that data as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and expand this application, and instead of just showing you the payments, I'm going to allow the user to add payments to the application as well. So let's go to my database, and I'm going to go to my payments table, and I'm going to ask the user to enter a check number, enter the amount, and then enter the type. So we're going to ask for these pieces of information, and then we'll have a button over here that says add. And as before, we're going to add a response to this button, which is that field name or variable name. We'll call it add payment. In a moment, see why that's relevant. So I'm going to go ahead and save this change. I'm going to jump into my app. What you're seeing here is basically this is our boilerplate for any application. It basically starts out with displaying the screen continuously. And what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of logic that says if the user pressed the add payments or add payment button, let's go ahead and run a query, an SQL statement. And this SQL statement is an insert statement that will then add to my payments table a record. So that's what the SQL statement looks like. The question mark is a placeholder for the record, and then we just need to represent what we're adding to the database. So in this case, we're adding the customer number, the check number, the amount, and the type, and that's all that we need. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's launch the app again. Let's find our customer, show the payments, and let's go ahead and add now a new payment. So let's do something like 1234 for the check number, for the amount. Let's do something big so that we can actually see the chart change. So 150,000, and let's categorize this as services, and I'll just click add payment. So you can see that the data certainly has changed, and then the amount does show up in our grid as well.